Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I think every once in a while I'm going to try to upload a review for something I saw either recently or something I grew up on that I loved, new, old, whatever, that may be something I really want to recommend to you all and kind of put a spotlight on. I've got a stack of quite a few things right here I've watched recently that I really think are worth bringing to your attention, in case you hadn't seen them, and I wanted to make the first one here a really special little review, something that means a lot to me. I've only seen this movie 3 times in my life, and the first time I ever saw it, I was probably too young to have seen it. It was on TV. Matter of fact, it was on the Sci-Fi channel back when it was still spelled SCI-FI before it became SYFY, whatever the fuck that is, or whoever had that marketing idea, which was terrible. Anyway, this is a little film from 1991, a few years after Child's Play. It's also considered a knockoff of Child's Play in the Chucky movies. This movie is called Dolly Dearest. Now, I've never owned the film until now. This is the only boutique label, aside from like a Shout Factory or anything like that, copy of anything that I've ever gotten. Paid like 20 bucks for this. It was on sale, bought it from Vinegar Syndrome, and I gotta tell you, I love Dolly Dearest. This version looks so good for a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. Dolly Dearest is part of that subgenre of horror, which I love, called killer dolls. And at the time when I first saw this movie, very late at night, back in the day, it was probably like 2001 or 2, maybe 2000 exact, I don't know, I was pretty young. This movie scared the shit out of me when I saw it that very late night on the Sci-Fi channel. And I have loved it ever since. And again, I've only seen it a few times because it's kind of hard to come by. I don't know if it's on YouTube or whatever, but a copy itself, aside from a solid one like this, they're kind of hard to come by. For a long time, you couldn't get your hands on a VHS copy. I don't think it ever had a DVD release as far as I know. But anyway, I love Dolly Dearest. I think it's a huge recommendation for me in case you like to know some of the goofier horror films that I love that I think are really, really fun and enjoyable for anybody out there who wants to experience this gem. I recommend it highly. It's a killer doll flick, which is kind of a spoiler, but kind of not. I mean, look at this cover here, man. How could you see this and not think of it being a killer doll book or movie? Essentially, this is about a family of 4, a mom, a dad, the son and the youngest daughter, basically, that happen to move out to Mexico to start up the dad's new business. He's going to open up a factory that makes these beautiful dolls, and he's kind of taken over an old factory that was around that had some other dolls in it. And this particular factory warehouse is not very big, but right behind it there's some ruins that were being excavated, and something got out. A couple of people died, like the week before this family showed up in Mexico. And while they're there, some weird things start to happen when the daughter goes to visit the warehouse with her dad the day they show up in this part of Mexico. And he gives her one of the dolls that are so beautiful off of the shelves. There's about 3 or 4 of them left over from the previous owners of this warehouse. And of course, from the cold open of the film, you assume that whatever got out of the ruins that were being excavated behind this warehouse have now gotten into these dolls and possessed them. The daughter of the family starts to act a little weird, and we kind of follow the mom's perspective as she kind of worries about her daughter very much and kind of wonders what's up with her. Why is she acting so strange, so weird? She's hanging out with her doll outside in this big doll house, which is kind of cool for a set piece, in their backyard of their actual house. The house is beautiful, by the way. It's kind of a family-focused film, and frankly, I think you could sit down and show your kids this as like one of their first ever horror films. I think they would love it, just as much as they would Slappy from Goosebumps like I did when I was at the age when I saw this movie. This film, in my opinion, with its setup and everything, it sounds like a typical killer doll flick, but it does so many things so perfectly and special. I really recommend it based on that alone. I think it's very well shot for what it had as a budget in 1991. It's fun, the dolls look good. When they switch from regular old dolls to like animatronic face dolls or just, midgets wearing costumes running around in the background and stuff, they really accomplish that really well. It's really good looking. Even down to, let me tell you this, I think there is one of the best jump scares I have ever experienced in a movie, ever, is in this film. I think Dolly Dearest has it down and pat perfect when it comes to the perfect jump scare. If you haven't seen the film, you owe it to yourself. It's really fun in that regard. But again, you wouldn't expect it to be as competently shot and wonderful looking the way it is until you see it. By the things I've described, it sounds kind of goofy and cartoonish because it really leans into more of that cartoonish nature of a killer doll storyline than something like Child's Play. Child's Play is kind of taking it in a very realistic way, aside from the voodoo aspect, of if a doll came to life, it was possessed by a serial killer, what would it do? Child's Play is very serious in that regard, and it's kind of frightening sometimes. Dolly Dearest is goofy, but it's wonderful because it approached the topic that way and really had a fun time with it. It knew everybody involved making this movie knew what they were making, and it's wonderful. I love every second of it. I love the soundtrack. I love the cheap CGI. I love the wonderful practical effects. There are moments in here and even side characters in here that I think are really special, including the housekeeper, for example. She's a Catholic woman, a very sweet woman, and you can't help but love this woman and root from her from the first frame you meet her. There's something about the cast that they even picked for the family of four that you just can't help but like them, including the mom, who is just beautiful. Dolly Dearest is a special little movie, and I cannot believe more people don't talk about it to this day. I have friends who are die-hard fans of Child's Play, just like I am, and they've never seen this movie. And I don't blame them because it kind of feels like it would be a knockoff, like a cheap knockoff. And maybe it was. I don't know, but it doesn't look like it. It really is incredibly well made, and it's extremely, extremely fun for what it is. I recommend it highly. If you haven't seen Dolly Dearest from 1991, please pick up a copy or check it out on wherever, YouTube, Tubi, wherever you can see this at. Try it one time. I promise you, if you give it 10 minutes, you'll get into it quite a bit. It's a really fun flick. Well, again, one of the best jump scares ever in history, in my opinion, are in this movie. If I had to rate Dolly Dearest on a 5-star basis, I would easily give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it is so recommendable, and everyone I've ever shown the movie to, whether it be my mom, who also loves horror, who got me into horror, who has seen everything, she loves it. She never thought she ever wanted to see this, but she loves it too. Everyone I've recommended this movie to, they loved it if they gave it a shot. It's just perfect. It has a little bit of that leftover 80s cheese in the 90s, which is basically what the 90s were. They were basically the dust of the 80s. It's wonderful, and it works incredibly well. It feels like an 80s movie, more than anything. Anyway, have you seen Dolly Dearest? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this awesome little film, this hidden gem that people just do not celebrate and talk about, which they should. To me, this is better than Lake Mungo, and I love Lake Mungo. Don't get me wrong, but this is incredible. Let me know everything you think about it down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear everything you have to say if you have been a hardcore fan of Dolly Dearest over the years. 4 out of 5 stars once again, like I said. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you next time on one of the recommendation videos for whatever might be an old film that I happen to be covering that I do recommend to you guys. There's so much coming out for March that I'm going to be covering a lot of serious things like the MonsterVerse movies involving Godzilla and Kong here in the US, or something like the Dune films, whatever. As I cover those things, I kind of want to intersperse different reviews for things that I've never seen or I'm seeing for the first time or whatever. As I said in the beginning of this video, to kind of break that up, break that mundane nature up a little bit, to give you guys something to check out on based on my recommendations if you happen to like what I talk about. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. That was all a mouthful. I need to go to bed. God bless you. Goodbye.